I was reading this article here by Kevin Stewart, and it's pretty much just talking about how AA games play a significant role within the gaming industry, and it has always played a major role, at least since the PS2 era of games. And he goes into mentioning a bunch of different games like The Suffering that came out back during the PS2 era, an amazing game in my opinion, Kill Switch, State of the Emergency, and a bunch of other games that came out as well. I believe Matrix Path of Neo, even though they had a high named IP, it didn't really have the budget behind it, as well as Into the Matrix. And you could kind of tell games like Enclave, Galen, Sudeki, things of that particular nature would fall in line with that. And I even believe Otogi, which is one of my favorite games that came out on the Xbox. Those type of games, they served like a very significant purpose because in a lot of cases, those games would be very good. They would be like the go-to if there's like a AAA game that's out that doesn't necessarily have like the oomph to it. At least during those time periods, PS2, Xbox, GameCube era. In particular, he goes into discussing all of this because of the reception of Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2. Had a bunch of mixed reviews. And on top of that, the gameplay wasn't really up to par to what people was assuming that a Vampire Masquerade the Bloodlines game should have. And it's because that's an action RPG that has looting systems, dynamic side quests, bunch of dynamic main quests as well, an experience system where you can actually grow your character, a character sheet where you could actually plot different points into the slot for your character to customize them exactly how you would want them. And I'm saying this as a person that played Bloodlines recently, so it's still fresh in my memory. But that game in itself was heavily flawed. There was a bunch of bugs. There was some other types of issues that existed with that game. There were actually people, or not people, but I believe the official company came out with patches, and then there was someone else that came out with an unofficial patch that actually completely cleans up the game, at least from the experience that I had with it. But I say all this to say, the issue with a company coming out with a new iteration of an already previously established series, my bad for stuttering, is just that there's an expectation that comes with that from fans of that particular series. The issue isn't necessarily that they came out with a game that was quote unquote mid. It was that they came out with a game that did not adhere to the different faculties and facilities that existed within the genre. Like when you're missing things like a loot system, when you're missing things like a character customization sheet, that has an in-depth sense to it that allows you to customize your character to suit how you want to play the game, there's an issue with that. It would be the same thing if a mainline Halo game came out as Halo Wars. When Halo Wars is a spinoff, it's a subsidiary of the main Halo line. And Vampire the Masquerade, it has other games that line up within this particular franchise. It has Vampire the Masquerade Coutures of New York. It has Vampire the Masquerade Swan Song. It has Vampire the Masquerade Blood Hunt. Why couldn't they call it something different like how they did those games instead of calling those games Bloodline 1, Bloodline 2, Bloodline 3? The issue is just with the name. If they would have just changed the name of the game, all of this wouldn't exist and people would have accepted the game for more. Take a look at one of the AA games that came out this year, Claire Obscure Exposition 33. South of Midnight, which was one of the games that was mentioned within this article, was heavily well received. Wu-Chang Fallen Feathers was another game that was well received. Granted, they completely backtracked a bunch on that game, as well as take a look at two games that I would consider my games of the year, which would be the first Berserker Kazan and Hell Is Us. Those two are amazing games that have AA quality. So the issue isn't necessarily that the game came out, it was AA or it was middling, or it was, as he put it in the article, 7 out of 10, a classic 7 out of 10 was a joke among game journalists where they themselves, essentially, that was their go-to number that they would use. I get it, like, that's cool. And that was your way to just say that something critically passed, like, the scoring of like, something that would be below that. That's understood, but at the same time, that number should have still had weight. You know what I mean? It should have still had some kind of weight. Like, it should have had some genuine nature to it. And there are other things that also comes into account when you're rating something. Like, how true does it stay to its franchise should be a criteria. Because granted, things can change from it. Jak and Daxter originally was a 3D platforming game that turned into a 3D platforming game / shooter. The Mass Effect series was originally an action RPG. It turned into a third-person shooter with RPG elements. There are aspects to all of this where it all depends on how true it sticks to its genre or to what the franchise had set forth that would allow someone to be able to, I guess, accept. And that's the best way that I could put it. Because this right here is the best case of showcasing the divisiveness that came when Dragon Age, what was it? Dragon Age Origins had came out compared to Dragon Age 2. Now, Dragon Age 2, it still got a lot of love, but when it came out after Origins, there was a bit of divisiveness with that game. And it was because people felt as though it didn't adhere to the ground and the foundation that Dragon Age Origins had set. That's what this is all a case of. It's just something doesn't stick to what it set, and people don't like that. People have been waiting for this game for 20 years. Bloodlines came out in 2004, bro. That's how long people have been waiting for this game. For 21 years. Just for it to come out and it be what it is. I'll leave y'all all with that. What do y'all think about this? Let me know down in the comment section below. And until next time I catch y'all, deuces.